Alright, hi everyone, I'm Lewis Anderson of Jetstone Art and Animation, and today I've got a little treat for you guys. I'm going to talk you through how I created the concept cover art for The Bleeding Edge by Wendigo Comics. So, hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Okay, so I use Adobe Photoshop for most of my work, but the program doesn't really matter what you use, it's more so the technique and the approach. The important thing to understand here is that this is a commissioned art piece, okay? So I've been given rough guidelines as to what the character should look like and the feel that she should give. For this character, she has got to come across as a very attractive, but at the same time, a very focused and a very driven character. So straight off, I'm going to start with the face. Now, as you can see, I've got the face here at an angle. I've got it side on, so you can clearly see that she's focused. She's not looking directly at us. She's clearly focused as to potentially what's in front of her. We're really focusing on where the light comes from and just the rough paints. I look at pictures of people in a similar pose and see how the light hits their face in a certain angle. So in this step, I've now put the eyebrows, eyes and lips in. As you can see, I've also added a highlight to the nose there. I have noticed that the nose is actually still a bit too long, so some proportions need revising over. This is absolutely fine. It's better that we notice these things now than later on. Notice that I've still kept the hair and some of the tones on the skin very, very basic. The key thing that gives off the look of someone and the character of someone is all in the features around the eyes, nose and lips. I've now added in some basic colours for the eyes as well. Notice that there is no highlight currently on the eyes. This is deliberate. It does kind of give the character a bit of a dead look. I've adjusted the nose once again. I'm almost happy with it. I'm not sure if it's quite there. As you can see, not bothered with the hair still, leaving that. I've also highlighted the far eye. I'm not too sure if that would actually be visible and if we'd only see just a glimpse of the lid there. So once again, it's not too important, but it's something to bear in mind for later on. Alright, so the highlights are in. As you can see, I've started to smooth out the skin tones as well here, really giving it kind of a glazed over look. That's going to be some powerful light hitting our eye there. This also helps the character look attractive. Another problem I have noticed at the moment is that there isn't quite enough of a focused expression around the eyebrows and the eyes, so that's something that needs to be amended. Highlighted the hair now, real basic once again, just getting those values down. The hair would be black. Now obviously just making the hair black is it can be quite dull. You have to use real reflective colours. So as you can see I've experimented with some purples and yellows. It could be the sun hitting her hair, it could be potentially bits of dirt, whatever. It's all about how you blend it in basically, and how you catch the direction of the light source rather than the colour. You could paint someone with blue skin and they would look right if you got the light source correct, so it is purely down to the light source and the expression. I've zoomed out, I've put in the pistol with just a rough block colour of the hand there, and the blade of the sword, which will be going across where her shoulder is. I've left some space to add the rest of her cheek and ear. I haven't really got any other references other than the image I showed you earlier for this part, so I'm going to have to kind of guess the cheek there and the ear, but that's fine. This is concept art after all. It's all part of it is down to guesswork, otherwise it wouldn't be fun. I finally got around to adjusting that eyebrow, and she's definitely looking a bit more focused than she was. Going to look at some references for the pistol. Potentially Wolfram P27. Then again, this is fantasy, and the client wants it to kind of be unique, so have some fun and make a unique looking pistol there. So taking it a bit further than just block colours here now. As you can see, I have still kept it all quite basic. I've really got down the shape that I'm happy with the cheek here, and the neck and the way that flows into her shoulder just down there at the bottom right. Her rear is roughly placed, I think it's about the correct size. Here, not too sure whether to have more hair going over the face. As you can see, I've left a strand there, a very thin strand that I would like to come across. I'm not too sure whether her hair should fold back behind that ear. That's something that we can experiment with. The important thing now is to get down some of the details around that ear, and see how everything kind of fits in with the light source that I've given the front of the face there. Now I've put some details on the ear. Nice light hitting them there. Really dark. It's the thing, some people are really against black. I'm not. I use black a lot. There's always a place for black. Some artists swear against it. I really don't. There's also a place for white. Speaking of which, on the pistol there, to give off the impression of its metallic reflection, I've gone straight into highlighting points of which the light source would be strongest. Going on some minor references and a bit of imagination, I've created the detail of the gun. Used lots of blacks, greys, blues, and bits of yellow as well, because it is quite reflective, so it might even be going as far as reflecting some colours off her face. Bit more unlikely, but you know, you got to be imaginative with this stuff. I've also highlighted in the hand. I've got the tones going down there. Hands are always quite tricky, so it is important to have a look at some references. I'm using a hard brush with some opacity and flow reduction put on them. That's basically the main tool for all of this work here. Alright, we're pretty much at our final stage. I filled in the sword, real basic, easy colours, similar technique to what I've done with the gun, but a lot less stop-start, a lot more fluid, just big long strokes, long brushes. There's a bit of an edge at the bottom of the sword that I think I'm going to get rid of. It's not really working, it's kind of a bit harsh. Basically just need to go over and touch everything up now and add in a fancy background, play around with some levels a bit, saturation, contrast levels, and then I think we're done. Okay, so here's the finished piece. As you can see, I finished all of the highlights around the hair, added a little bit more onto the gun and the sword. I think I've added a little bit more onto the nose too. Thrown in a nice red background there because it is the bleeding edge, so there had to be some kind of minor reference to blood there, I felt, so a nice red background. Kind of fits in well with the image. I'm fairly happy with it. So there it is. This is Carmen Black of the Bleeding Edge for Wendigo Comics. I hope you've enjoyed this video. So if you have any questions or inquiries, please get in touch. And thank you very much for watching.